Hello Opimian members, and welcome to this very short video on a few of the wines which I am delighted to include in the latest offering, which you should have on your doormats as we speak. My name is Michael Palij. I'm a Canadian Master of Wine. I emigrated to the UK in 1989 and qualified as an MW in 1995. And since then I've been specialising in the wines of Italy. And one of the places in Italy that I find the most charming is Sicily. So Sicily, the huge football-shaped island that Italy appears to be kicking in the middle of the Mediterranean. And its geography is really, really important. A lot of people think of Sicily as being very hot, and that's kind of true. But you've got a giant air conditioner there in the form of Mount Etna, which actually keeps a large part of the island pretty cool. And the other thing is that you've got, in addition to Mount Etna, you've then got the cooling effect of the Mediterranean. So the main current that flows past the island flows to the south, and that actually comes in all the way from the Med, from the Straits of Gibraltar, and is much cooler than you'd think. And then on the other side of that, you've got the hot winds coming off Africa, which of course can blow across from the Sahara unimpeded, and the first bit of land that they really get to is Sicily. So climatically it's pretty dynamic, and then on top of that, the island's been invaded since the Phoenicians arrived about 1000 BC. So you've had the Phoenicians, the Normans, the Greeks, the Romans. Everybody's tried to get a piece of Sicily. And so what's happened is, because Sicily was strategically so important, what's happened is everybody's kind of left their mark there. So the best Greek temples in the world are not in Greece, they're in Sicily. The best Norman churches are in Sicily, because everybody who invaded it thought, well, this is a really great place, we need to hang on to this. And so viticulturally, in terms of the grapevines that are planted there, it's just amazing. And you've got all kinds of varieties, many of which are really, local to Sicily, you don't find anywhere else. But then there's also been these sort of varieties that have been brought in by various waves of invaders. So the Terra Firma range started about 7 or 8 years ago, and I found a winery that was really happy to work with me and would just allow me to go in and play around with the tanks and say, well, I'll have a bit of this and a bit of that. So the white is made from Grillo, and Grillo is a local grape variety that grows in the west of the island, towards Trapani and Marsala. And it's a white grape variety that was originally used for Marsala production. So it's a grape variety with pretty high yields, but a good level of natural acidity, and if you keep the yields down, actually get some lovely fruit flavors. So there's some citrus fruit, stone fruit. It's really rather a wonderful wine, and despite the climate being relatively warm, Grillo does exceptionally well there. So the white's made from Grillo, and that's just in stainless steel. And the red is made from Nero D'Avola. But what's interesting about the Nero D'Avola is it's sourced from 2 different parts. So half the Nero D'Avola is from the most southerly point near a town called Pachina, which is actually famous for tomatoes as well as grapevines. And then the other part is sourced from the Pelletrani Mountains in the north, near Palermo. And there the vineyards are about 700 meters above sea level. So you've got some really hot climate fruit, which gives it weight and body and alcohol, and then some cool climate fruit that gives it finesse and elegance and subtlety. I mean, of the 3 wines, I suppose the red's really the one I'm happiest with. That one is just perfect. I think it's great value for money. And then the rosé is made from Sangiovese. Now, those of you who like Italian wines will know that Sangiovese is from Tuscany and not from Sicily. But in one of these successive waves of invasion, Sangiovese was planted in Sicily. Now, not a lot of it, and it's a grape variety which, speaking really honestly, probably doesn't make nearly as good red wines as it does in Tuscany. So it seemed to be the perfect candidate for making a rosé. So that's direct press, so it's just the must which we ferment actually just comes out of the press, so it's direct press. There's a little bit of international grape varieties in there as well, some Merlot and so on, but it's predominantly Sangiovese, and it's light and fresh, and all 3 of the wines are designed to be drunk young. There's no advantage to keeping them. All of them in stainless steel, and I guess what I'm trying to do with these wines is just kind of capture what makes Sicily such a great place and such an interesting place to find native varietals. In terms of food matches, the Grillo, light, fresh, so keep that simple sort of seafood. It'll work well with trout, sea bass. Probably not enough going on there to go with salmon. Antipasta, pasta if you've got a simple sauce, nothing too heavy. Nero D'Avola is kind of the opposite, so you can chuck pretty much anything you want at that, but lamb, pork, beef would be brilliant, maybe not as much as game. Cheese, hard cheese, cheddar, something like that would be lovely. And the rosé is really for alfresco dining, so treat the rosé as you would one of those situations where you don't know if you should serve white or red. So it's got enough stuffing to go on, to go really well with things like salmon, buffet style things, pasta, amatriciana, carbonara would be brilliant. But just it's a really beautiful day here today. It's first thing in the morning here. That's why I'm starting my cup of tea. First thing in the morning here in Oxford, and it's just lovely. It's exactly this sort of day that the rosé is made for. So in the afternoon, sadly I'm going to work, but if I were having a buffet, then that's what I'd be pouring, would be chilled glasses of the rosé. Anyway, I have waffled on here long enough. Really hope you enjoy my wines, and thanks so much for your support.